Okay, joining me today is senior women's golfer Whitney McAteer. Whitney, you guys have wrapped up your fall campaign last week. You've personally have two top tens in the fall so far out of the five tournaments that you guys played in. Three top 15 performances. Talk about your individual play this year.
So far has not been that good. Obviously, in the past, I've been pretty successful coming out of the gate. But this year's a little bit different with being a senior. I feel like I have a lot more on my mind outside of golf. And with golf, it's hard to keep that sometimes in balance of getting on the course and forgetting everything outside. And I think that's affected my play. But hopefully in the spring we can turn that around.
How much of a transition is it going from just another golfer on the team to for this year for you and Kelsey both being seniors and stepping up into those leadership roles?
It is very different. Like as a freshman, you have no idea what you're doing. You just go and you play golf and nothing else matters. You have no record to look back on. You start clean slate. And with being a senior, it's kind of like you feel like you have more of a weight, not that it's put on you, but just as a senior, you feel like you have to go into that leadership role of helping everybody else kind of find their way too, because you have been there before for 3 other years, and it's just a lot different.
Now, you like you said, you're not totally pleased with your performance in the fall, but you have an entire spring to look forward to. You also have a successful track record. You're one of the most decorated golfers in NSU history in terms of, 13 top 5 finishes. You've won 4 career tournaments. You're a former All-American. What are some of the things that you can look back on in your career to help, prepare yourself for your last spring season?
Just not get down on the fact that 5 tournaments have not been the past 5 tournaments of the fall have been bad. Sometimes you can get so down on yourself because of your failures, and being able to have that history to look back on helps me progress forward so I don't get too down on myself. I am a good golfer, and I just have to keep reminding myself of that.
From a team perspective, again, not the best fall that you were looking for as a team. You're still a top 25 program. What are some of the things that you guys are trying to improve on between now and your first spring tournament?
I mean, clearly we have the talent. Clearly. We've had a few bumps in the road with clearly one of our top 5s getting injured, not being able to play this year, which is a shock to our whole entire system. But we clearly have 5 girls who can go to a tournament and compete, and we just haven't come together. And hopefully the freshmen will kind of get used to, it's hard when you come in as a freshman, you have to kind of get used to how things work. So hopefully they'll be ready for the spring to kind of understand the fall helps you get kind of acquainted with everything. And then with me and Kels, hopefully we just get it going. We haven't had the best fall, obviously, but we know that we've had that history there where we can perform. So we just forget about it all and go out there. And then Alex has performed consistently every tournament. So if she just stays the same and the rest of the 4 of us come together, it will be great.
When you're out on the golf course and you're playing in a tournament, you're obviously playing with competitors from other universities, but talk about, do you know where your teammates stand throughout the round? Whenever they catch up to you or you catch up to them, do you ever talk with them during a round to kind of give them hey, pick it up, let's go kind of thing, or do you just do your own thing out there?
It kind of depends how the pace of play is. I mean, sometimes if it's so fast you never see the girls. Coach doesn't normally give out that information, but like for Kelsey and I, sometimes Brady, our GA, will help us he knows how to help us with like Kelsey. Like sometimes if we're both competing to win a golf tournament, sometimes he'll fib a little bit about how good I'm doing, and Kelsey kind of gets that competitive edge and tries to get me, or vice versa, really. And so we all have differences of if we like to hear how other girls are doing or if we don't. And if somebody's having a bad day, really, you just try to say, it's okay, just stick in there, because golf is the only sport you can't sub in and sub out. So if you're having a hard day, you have to grind, and 4 to 6 hours of golf, grinding when you're not playing that good can be really hard. So if we do see each other and we aren't playing good, we just try to lift each other up and try to keep the vibe good as it can be.
It's an interesting dynamic when you yourself have 4 career victories, and like you said, Kelsey, she also has 4 career victories. You guys have both been playing together for 4 years. It seems like every time that she wins a tournament, you're in second place, or vice versa. So it's interesting for that dynamic when you're going down the end, But I'll end it with this. Your next tournament, you have a long break. Your next tournament is going to be March 4th and 5th in the ECU Oak Hills Golf Classic. From an academic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, what do you do between now and then to get yourself ready for your last spring?
I don't know. I guess we just stay up with our studies, and as far as golf's concerned, we're pretty much on our own. So we kind of find that fun in it again. Sometimes when you're playing week after week after week for 5 weeks, you lose the fun in it, and you kind of get so overwhelmed with everything. So as long as we can find the fun in it again, and just hang out, and we'll just lift weights and run and get ready.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Best of luck to you in the spring.
Thank you.
All right, Whitney McAteer, women's golf.